Hey, welcome back to another episode of the MindShare podcast. This episode is sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, your partner in transforming your business with systems that work. Kits is your complete cross-channel marketing suite that will generate you more leads and build your repeat and referral machine. These are the tools and expertise you need to help scale your business. As well as REM, Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to get more market share. Plus, learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 312. She is one of Toronto's leading real estate professionals, celebrated for her exceptional client service and market expertise. She achieved the distinction of being the number one in her office in both 2021 and 2022. Then, in 2023, she was named to the prestigious National Chairman's Club, recognizing her as part of the top 1% of agents across Canada, earning her a place among the top 35 under 35. Her client-first approach and her creative strategic marketing sets her apart in Toronto's competitive real estate landscape. And she also manages international properties, presenting her clients opportunities for seasonal rentals and investment properties beyond the local market. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare podcast is Realtor Elena Saradidis. Elena, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. You said my name right.
I told you I'd get it right. I told you. She was questioning me. She's like, you're not going to get it right. I'm like, I'm going to get it right. Then she started pronouncing it and doing all these different syllables. And we started having to do the clap thing together. And I'm like, no, I got this. Well, thanks. It was nice having you on the show.
The beginning, middle, and the end just happened.
You know, I first, I got to give it up to you. You were here like we had sort of like a start time before we got on air. You were here like right on time.
Yeah, I have a schedule.
That's quite shocking. Most real estate agents don't understand from time. So I was making the joke about it's not like Realtor time. It's real time. Anyways, Realtors, you know I love you.
For a client and for an appointment, I'm always on time. For everything else in my life, everyone knows, my friends, my family know, I will be late.
Okay, but like it can't be like that.
Well, I'm like that because my clients come first. Well, and I know that sounds bad, but like if a client wants to revisit the property, we're revisiting the property.
Okay. See, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't mind that, but at the same time, there's got to be what we call boundaries, right? And it's funny what you just said. You're like, my clients come first. I know that sounds bad. It's interesting because clients would be like, yes. But the reality is, and like all jokes aside to everybody, and I say this to everybody, first, I love my clients. I love the people that I have as like the opportunity to be my clients. I am grateful for that opportunity. All jokes aside, I really am. That said, if we do not put ourselves first, we end up missing out on other things that are super important to us. And then it ends up taking a toll, possibly mentally, possibly physically. And you get to what's called burnout.
And that's kind of where I led to where I am now. Why I started a team, why I wanted a little bit more balance. But I'm sure you have 100 and more questions before we get to that point.
I do. And we're going to get into that. And in fact, I do want to say, today's title, as we talked about, and for everybody today, we titled the show, How to Become the Number One Realtor in Your Office. But I do have to say, through, I guess, Elena, we're going to learn from you. We're going to learn more from you now of how you got to where you are, why you're having so much successes. And it really goes beyond just obviously number one in the office, but it's number one in your area, number one with the brand you're in. I mean, just, and we all have a different version of what number one really means. Right. But in this case here, the real hook here, everybody. So you saw the title, you're like, okay, I'm going to tune into that. We're going to give you more today. So stay tuned, buckle up, because I know this is going to be great. But I do have to ask you, because we're just kind of getting to know each other here. I know my team found you and you've been doing some great stuff, but I see that you're collaborating with other people I know in the industry. So, I mean, good for you. Awesome. But I want to do a little bit of background for everybody. I guess I'd start off by asking, what initially inspired you to pursue a career in real estate? Was it like, oh my God, I can make a shit ton of money? Was it the freedom and flexibility thing? Were you like, oh my God, I love houses?
So I accidentally got into real estate.
Accidentally?
I accidentally. It was not a plan. I did not wake up one day and was like, I'm going to be a real estate agent. It did not happen. So in my second to third year of university, I was
Yeah.
sorority, I went to U of T, and I was at an alumni fraternity event. And at that event, I met these two guys that were starting a real estate brokerage, and they offered me a summer job.
Doing what?
Yeah, just a summer job. I was
Oh,
like, great, I'll work
we're
in the
starting a
summer.
brokerage. Do you want a job? You're like, sure.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
you didn't know
okay.
what you were doing.
No, I didn't know anything about real estate, but I'm competent. So they were like, you're going to do well with us.
Okay.
So I helped them start from the ground up. Little did I know that I started doing all the things that I really loved doing. And it was a lot of the back end, a lot of the front facing real estate stuff, to the point where I was like, I need to get licensed. I see all their accounting. I see exactly what they're doing. I know I'm doing all the work. I want to get paid.
So what were you doing though at first?
The whole back end. So
Okay.
offers, I was doing prep for open houses. I was helping them with their open houses, their marketing, anything client facing. I was there as well. So like I was doing a lot of the back end, including accounting, which if you ever don't want an admin to lose you, like you to lose an admin, don't let them do the accounting.
Fair. Is that because it's a real pain in the ass?
No, not that. But once someone realizes, especially if you're not paying them properly, once they realize how much you're making, how much work is on them, there's a less likelihood that they'll stay.
Right. No, that's a
So
good point.
at that moment, I was thinking I should go get licensed because I'm doing all the work and I get almost none of the benefit. And I love where I started. I love the guys that I started with. They're fantastic, but it's not where I ended up. So got my license, decided I'm going to join a brokerage. I didn't end up joining the brokerage that I initially started with. I joined a brokerage that was closer to my office.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no hard feelings. We've done many deals together since
those guys were obviously like you know your mentors, key influencers early on, obviously off the top.
Definitely, but again, I wanted to go somewhere where I could learn even more.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, I was exploring a couple different options closer to my house. And I ended up going with Brad Lamb. And I'll give credit where it's due. I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't start there. And it's because it was an environment that really pushed you to learn everything as quickly as possible. It's a sink or swim type.
Is that the office on Queen Street?
It's on
King Street, pardon me.
Yeah. So I remember having to tell my parents about 2 months or 3 months into me being licensed as a real estate agent, I'm not going to go to medical school anymore. I'm going to become a real estate agent full time. Okay, see that face that you just made?
Yeah. Whoa. Did mom and dad just look at you and say, get out and never come back? Because we just put a lot of money into medical school.
So I was pre-med. So my parents were very much doctor, lawyer, engineer, like most immigrant or most European parents. Like that's the mentality. There's 3 job options.
Yeah.
So all my life I was like lawyer, lawyer, lawyer. Then I swapped to doctor. And then I told them I'm going to be a real estate agent. My mom was crying. My daughter's going to be homeless. Yeah. And my dad was like, and this is why she should not have worked while she was in university. She should have just focused on her studies. That's exactly.
They're both looking up at the sky going, we failed. We failed this role.
They absolutely were like, I can't believe this happened. Like the worst thing ever to them was I became a real estate agent at that moment. So I started to take a lighter and lighter course load. I started to do more and more real estate. And I was obsessed with, I need to be successful in this industry, or I just let my parents down for no apparent reason.
Right. Yeah, no, fair. And that's real. 100%.
Yeah. So in my first year, my goal was I need to make 6 figures after tax. And if I can make 6 figures after tax, then okay, like I'm in real estate, but at least, you know, I'm making some traction in real estate and we'll grow from there. Yeah. But if I'm making anything below that, I could work a 9 to 5, I could have my evenings off, my holidays off, and I can just have my weekends. So why would I put myself in this career knowing the back end and what it actually took to be successful in it if I wasn't going to make that kind of money?
Hey, and all jokes aside, that's an important realization, right? Because evenings and weekends are very real in this business. And if you're not making enough money and you're sacrificing a lot of that stuff, you start to ask yourself, why am I doing this?
100%. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not the job for everyone.
So what were some of those biggest challenges then that you sort of ran into in the beginning? Because obviously, yeah, there's an emotional toll there of not pursuing what you thought you were going to pursue. And seriously speaking, what your parents thought you were going to pursue. Now it's like, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this on my own. You obviously have you exude a confidence in you already. I've gotten to know you for 27 minutes right now or something, maybe if that. Like there's a good confidence there. You seem like you're personable, you could speak with people. Where did you find, or maybe what were the biggest challenges at that point going, hey, I'm going to do six figures this year after tax?
So the biggest challenge, I started young. I started at 22.
Yep.
So believe it or not, I looked even younger. And now I
How
do.
is that possible?
And I did always, even when I was 22, I dressed older because that was a crutch. Like having someone be like, why should I trust you? You look like a child.
Right.
That is something that people will say. There is ageism, there is sexism in this industry. Like there's no point not to talk about it because it's there.
Yeah.
And I found that was one of the key, like a key factor is my age and I'm too young. So I focused on a lot of rentals. In my first year, I probably did a little over 100 rentals.
Okay. Wow.
I did open houses every single weekend. Every single weekend. There was no, if I was not with a client, I was open housing.
Wow.
To the point where it was actually like, it was annoying to everyone around me, my friends, my family, everyone, because they're like, you don't spend time with us. We don't know where you are. Why are you open housing? Like, is this actually going to lead to anything? So open houses every single weekend. I probably open housed the Harlow, so 608 Richmond, for almost 2 years. Like the people that lived there thought I lived there. The concierges and I became friends. Like they thought I lived in that building. And I massively was doing rentals. And that's kind of where it started. I was the first one in the office, the last one in the office every day.
Yep.
I'm like, I have to be successful in this. So give it a first year or second year, give it everything I've got. And if it's not it, then real estate's not it for me.
Interesting. So there was a lot of sacrifice of time that was going on.
Well,
Obviously there was, hey?
I was going to say, people get into this thinking that it's fast and easy money.
Yeah.
And like, you'll get your license and the next day you'll be making tons of money. It's not the case. There's a compounding effect of effort. And that's what people tend to forget.
That's exactly what people, how long, what kind of time did it take to get your first deal?
So that part was a little bit on the easier end, solely because I started at a real estate office where I helped with their back end. So I kind of noticed what they were doing to start generating leads. Ooh. So posting rentals on Facebook Marketplace, Zumper, PadMapper, those websites really did help because they were
But you've got to find the rentals though still.
So that's when you become friends with everyone at your office and say, can I advertise your rental?
God.
And most times they're going to tell you yes, because they really, I don't want to say they really don't care, but find me a tenant. Absolutely zero problem. Bring me a tenant. I went to everyone at my office and said, you don't want to do the little jobs. Like you want me to go put up a lockbox for you? I'll put up a lockbox for you. You want me to put up a for sale sign for you? I'll do it. And I was basically taking all the grunt work away from busy.
And that's for no dollars committed to you in any way.
I was like, let me do it and then help me. Like if you get a lead and you don't want to service it, send it to me and I'll take care of it. And they were doing it. Because they were like, if I don't have to put up a lockbox, that's fantastic. You want the rental leads, you can have them. So that's how I kind of started growing, was through rentals.
Okay. So then question here then, because like we know, look, Toronto's a super competitive market. There are way too many agents that are in the industry. And I've got an email coming out tomorrow that's going to talk to even how many are not there anymore, and I think it's a good thing that we're weaning off some of the riffraff, and I'm very blunt about that. A lot of riffraff, like a lot of people that shouldn't be in the industry doing what they're doing. Regardless, there's still tens of thousands of agents, especially right here within the sort of Toronto and Ontario market. So needless to say, it's a very competitive market that you're working in. You're doing the rentals. How did you go about building the contact list, like building your network, building the client base for those first few years? Because you're, again, admittedly younger, so there's a perception around that at the time. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna dress a little differently to try to exude a little bit more confidence, or maybe people think I'm a little bit older and more sort of seasoned at what I'm doing. But give us, I guess, some specific strategies around that really helped you build up again the client base as you started out, because so many people are like, oh, I don't know anybody, or they know I just got into real estate, they don't trust me yet.
So that's a huge factor, the whole I don't trust them yet. And that comes as a building block. People will start to trust you the moment you start actually showing you're full-time in real estate.
Right.
Post that you're in real estate, show that you're doing transactions, show that you're walking around properties. If you have nothing to do, go educate yourself on the market and what inventory is in the market. Book appointments. Book those appointments that are not like showings, but views. Book them and go. Go see real estate, go see buildings, go see inventory, because the more you know about certain properties, the more educated you'll sound when you get the opportunity in front of you. Like, you got to remember, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Love
So
that.
know your numbers and know them better than anyone else. Know the stats for how many places are on the market right now. Know the area that you're looking in. Study the new listings that are coming to market as if it was an exam. Because when someone comes in front of you and says, I live in 111 Bathurst Street, and you can say, wow, there's a listing right now available for X amount, a rental was available for XYZ, people are like, oh my God, you must really know the market. You know all these answers. Meanwhile, it was just studying what inventory is currently available in the market. So every day it was part of the daily routine. What is available? CO1, CO2, WO1, WO2, EO1, EO2. What is available in the markets that I'm constantly looking at for sale and for rent? So when someone asked me a question, I knew the answer.
So so you start building up the contact list, you start building up the network of people, you're educating yourself incredibly well. And I mean, I think that probably hasn't changed even today. It's like, continue to know what's going on in your market, especially for the audience you want to work with. What was for you, I guess, maybe the turning point, or like, was there a particular moment that happened that all of a sudden you went, bang, I feel this snowball just starting to go downhill now and just start to build that momentum. And you're like, oh my God, I got this.
So I was probably when the rentals started converting into sales. So
So
whenever
that's a
those
few
rentals,
years later then at that point.
yeah, so it was a little
Okay.
bit later. It was probably a year and a half in, where I was like, oh my God, it actually worked. So anyone that I helped in the beginning stage stuck with me, and now they want to buy. And now I'm at a point where now they want to sell. And they're referring me their friends and their family. So again, compounding effect of your first client, doesn't matter how big or small the deal is. And this is always, doesn't matter how big or small the deal is, they're the most important clients.
Makes sense. No, it totally makes sense. And that's so many people are always chasing the next deal that they lose sight of how important it is to really put some focus and some serious TLC into the people that you're working with right then and there.
So I was actually talking to an agent the other day about this, and she was talking to me about farms and what area that you farm in, and for people that don't know, farm areas are usually an area that real estate agents heavily focus on, and they'll mass do all their marketing towards that specific pocket. And I was telling them, my market, like my farm area, are my people. My goal is to do such an amazing job for my people that they refer me their friends and their family. And my conversion rate on friends and family is extremely high. Like, I probably will do 5 to 6 transactions with someone that does a deal with me within a year. So
Five
like,
to six transactions with one individual.
so if one individual works with me,
Yeah.
they will refer me 5 to 6
Oh,
people
wow.
within the span of a year.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you're running what, like at least at minimum a 70% referral clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually I'm actually a little bit higher. I think I'm at 89
Good for you.
for
Yeah.
referral.
I say typically somewhere between that 70 to 90.
Yeah.
You'll always have sort of some 5 to 10% attrition from, from folks you don't know, or from your farm area, from people that you get to know just through like the grapevine. But again, typically speaking, and that's something that, again, it always holds true. And again, we're talking today with Elena Saradidis about how to become the number one realtor in your office. And again, we just heard it for the 312th time, probably. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, 79% of 70 to 90% of the business in this business will come from people who know you, like you, and trust you.
Exactly.
Now, off the top here, when I read your bio, it mentioned about being creative and being a strategic marketer. Talk to me, like, to what you just said about taking care of people. To me, that really is like pretty much number one. That's the ultimate, right? Because if you're not doing that, but you got some, like, you're on a bus bench, well, like, screw you, you ain't getting the deal, right? Because you're just no good at what you do. But what I guess maybe beyond sort of the TLC, is there anything specific that really you find is super productive in I guess producing more opportunities, that just really works well for you?
So client events work really well for me, and open houses
Okay.
work really well for me.
Okay, love that. Yeah, you mentioned
So
open house earlier too.
yeah, so I'll mention open houses first, because I
Yep.
think that's a good one, and that's something that anyone can do with zero client list.
Yep.
So if you're hosting an open house, the most important factors is to know everything about the property. So if you're hosting it for someone else, learn everything you need to know. What is rented, what is owned, age of everything. If there's anything else available in the area, in the building, know it. What's available for rent in the area, in the building, know it. And then what are the most recent sales in the area and in the building, if that's what you're looking at. Because again, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So if someone walks into the door and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, that is when that opportunity somewhat gets missed. And there's an elegant way of saying, I don't know the answer, but if you don't say it properly, you're gonna lose the opportunity. So knowing this information before, when no one else is expecting you to know it, that's a huge value add. And that will be the difference between someone picking you, the random agent in an open house, or someone picking someone they know that's also an agent. So I've converted tons of people through an open house. Probably the most aha moment for an open house is that one time that I picked up a $4.5 million buyer through an open house.
And they came in with no agent.
They came in with no agent.
Hold that thought, because I was about to say to you, like, but open houses are such a waste of time. Like, I don't want to.
Were you about to tell me that?
Talk to strangers, like you hear that from people all the time, right?
If I walk you through my pipeline and like the deals I've done, you'd be impressed with how many came from an open house. It's actually crazy.
And you know what? Like, seriously, it doesn't surprise me, because I hear so many success stories from people hosting open houses. I know so many agents who, like, their bread and butter is open houses, but it's such a small percentage of people that actually want to do them on a regular. And you're like, yeah, but everybody keeps telling me these success stories from them. Like, you should do them.
It's not, you're not going to do one open house one time and it's going to hit. Like, that's not how it works. There's an art to doing open houses. There's an art to connecting with people when they walk in the door. There's a way that you can do it that you don't seem salesy. You just seem like you're genuinely interested in what brought them in today. You're genuinely just giving them information. Like, you're not trying to sell them that specific property. You're trying to give them information about.
So give us some tips, or like, can we peek behind the curtain here a little bit? Like,
peek behind the curtain. I'll tell you what I do.
Like, do you have a sign-in process? Like, when they walk in, do you follow them around? Do you let them go on their own? Like, talk to us about that.
Okay, so pre-prep for open houses, I kind of told you everything that happens. If it's a house, I usually put up a tent in front of the house.
Okay, cool. See, so right away when people are driving by, they're like, "Yo, what's going on there?"
Yeah, and they will stop and look at the tent. Now, tents are expensive. You don't have to start that way at all, but it's something that now I've elevated my business to include.
Yeah, but they're like $2,500, right? Something like that. You could get a tent for.
I might have paid more money, so I might have gotten completely.
Listen, but you can find them for $1,000. You can find them for $10,000. The point is, like, if you price one out, you could probably get something for $2,500, $3,000. But you've got it now for a long time. I wouldn't say for life. There's wear and tear, but like, you've got it for a long time. And like you just said, people are driving by. What's going on there?
Exactly. And people will stop and come in.
Love that.
So something I also used to do, I don't do it anymore. I have a different baker supplier now, but I used to have Craig's cookies at all my open houses. Craig's cookies are famous in Toronto. Everybody knows them. And if they don't know it, it was a great talking feature. So they'd walk in, I'd be like, hey, how are you? Great jacket. If, for example, it was the dead of winter and we were doing in a condo and they had no jacket on, I'd be like, either you're very brave or you live in this building, like something to disarm them. They just like talk to you as if you're a person, because the first thing they do before they enter an open house, and this is everyone in the history of ever, they walk down the street or they walk down the hallway in the building and they go, the real estate agent's going to ask us for information. Don't give them anything. Just like, keep your head down. We're going to look at the property and get out. Don't tell them anything. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Don't even give them your email. That all happens before they get into the door. So automatically they walk in and they're just like, I don't want to talk to you. So you have to make it out like you're not salesy. Like, this is everything you need to know. Go walk around, have a great tour. They know where the kitchen is. You don't need to show it. You're not a tour guide. You're a real estate agent.
So this is the kitchen.
You don't need to tell them. Pretty sure if the fridge is located in there and the oven, it's the kitchen. You don't need to tell someone that. But
and if you do, there might be other problems.
Let them walk around the house and try and get them to tell you something that's not real estate related. Something, anything. Like, I did an open house once and there were little kids and it was close to like Halloween time. And I asked what they were going to dress up for at school. And I remembered that, made a note before they left the open house. And then I sent them a follow-up email the next day or 2 days after and said, how did the spaceman suit costume go over yesterday? And then they responded and they were like, wow, she remembered.
Good for you.
It was
So what's the sign-in process look like? Are you getting that information or no?
So I use a company called Spacio now. It
Okay.
directly links to Follow Up Boss, which is my
Mhm.
CRM system.
Mhm.
Previously, it was old school, hand and paper, like just
Yep.
write down your information. I find that people like to chicken scratch or hide their emails if you do it that way.
Yep.
So doing it digitally is a little bit easier, and
For
then you'll
sure.
get their information a little quicker. You're not trying to differentiate if it's a G or a C. Like
Yep.
it's just easier to read it. So that's what we've been using currently.
So it's create some noise outside. Don't overwhelm them when they walk inside. Let them walk around on their own. You've already picked
And
up some
disarm
contact
them.
information, right? Disarm them through just easygoing conversation. And
Yeah.
then as they leave, do some follow-up after the fact.
Exactly. And like
Cool.
usually like even the disarming can even be the cookies or the coffee or whatever. And
Right.
like I'll make like a little joke being like, oh, they're Craig's cookies, they're famous. And people will be like, oh, like I guess I will grab them. And my card is stuck on every single one of the backing of it. Or they'll be like, oh, like this is interesting. Like these are really famous cookies. And I'll be like, yeah, they're at all my open houses. Always stop in and grab. I'm like, please take a cookie. I'm gonna end up eating them all if you don't. So like it kind of disarms
Yeah,
them
for
in a
sure.
way that they're more likely to talk to me because now I'm just like the lady with the cookies. Like
That's
there's
cool.
nothing else.
So from a tent outside, the process inside, the business cards on the cookies, what like when it comes to personal branding, how much has that helped with with your success? Like even when you talk to like you had to like dress differently when you first started out, right? Is it would you say that that's really I guess the personal brand is what's really helped you grow, or do you think it's just more about the one-on-one interactions? Does that make sense?
One-on-one interactions is probably my strong suit. Like if
Yeah,
someone is put in front of me, if I go into a listing presentation, if I do an open house, I will most likely convert them.
right.
But having everything on the exterior also look put together, that makes a big difference. No one's going to trust an agent that shows up with a baseball cap behind their head and like with jeans. Like it's different. In any other profession, no one would show up the way that some real estate agents show up.
Why, you don't think it's okay to show up in, like, your track pants and just whatever?
No, no. If you're
No.
going to the gym, go to the gym. If
Yeah.
you're going to your work, go to your work. No other job profession allows you to do that. But then I was reading something the other day, and I forget which famous person was doing this. I think it was Mark Cuban, and it was like Mark Cuban shows
Who?
up to
I'm
work.
joking. Yeah.
I was like Mark Cuban shows up in his boardrooms in a normal t-shirt and a pair of jeans, and he sits in the back of the boardroom. Everyone else
I
is in
saw
suits.
this. I saw
You
this.
saw this.
I saw
So
this one.
they purposely said like he can now do that because of all the work he did before. He
Mhm.
doesn't have to prove himself anymore. He doesn't have to do anything anymore. Like now, if I do show up to my clients and I am wearing gym clothes, like they'll be a little like you're never in gym clothes, but none of them are going to question if I know my information anymore.
Right.
None of them are going to question if I know what I'm doing anymore because my track record now proves it to them.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
like,
what they said about Mark was the fact that he's not the one selling,
yeah. So
right? He's not the one selling. When he walks in a room, he is not the one selling anymore.
exactly.
That's
So
why he doesn't care.
until you're the one, and he's the decision maker, but
Mhm.
until you're the one that everyone knows is all about real estate, knows exactly what they're doing, knows what's happening, like you can't show up that way. I would even caution you not to show up like that, period,
Yeah,
until
no, for sure.
but
So, sorry?
like I remember years ago, I was always the person that goes into buildings when they took occupancy and booked every single suite because I wanted to know what the layouts look like.
Right.
And I remember I was in a building and I was bringing a friend of mine, also an agent, with me to go look at some of the units because I was like, they're cool. You should come. We could go look together. And I was in the elevator with her. And I don't know why we were so dressed up that day, but we were fully wearing dresses and heels. I think for some reason we thought it was selling sunset. I don't know, but we were in dresses and heels. And I remember seeing this guy, and I will never forget this. This guy in the elevator with a backwards baseball cap and shorts, like just gym shorts, and the listing paper in hand. That's how you know that's a real estate agent if they're holding a listing paper in hand. It's like the tell-all. And he was standing there with a client, and they were in the elevator with us. And the client goes, "What are the amenities like in this building?" And the agent went, I don't. And then he turns to us and he goes, "Oh, like you guys must live here. Do you guys know?" And I said, "Actually, the amenities in this building are
Oh my
fantastic.
God.
There's a
Tell me you
massive
signed the client.
yeah, I I'm not going to cross that line, but I did say there's a massive pool. It has amazing views of the city. There's a fantastic gym. It's on this floor. Like I told him everything he needed to go in the elevator. He goes, oh, like, how do you guys like living here? And I said, oh, we don't live here. We're agents. His client's face
Oh my God.
literally turned white. Like
Oh
my
God,
agent, who I'm trusting to make one of the biggest decisions of my life with, one of the biggest purchases of my life with, didn't know that. But some random agent in the building gave me all the information, and she does not live here.
Now, again, I would say that there's the more powerful part of the brand as well, right? Because a lot of folks think that branding is about the photo, the logo, the colors. Branding really is more than that. I mean, we tie it back to MindShare, which is all about what we're about, but it's occupying a tiny little space in people's minds for instant recollection. And so in this case here, to what you've been saying so far throughout the first part of the show, is a lot of what you're doing is about your own homework, your own studying, your own knowledge, like really understanding who you're dealing with and what's going on. What are you dealing with? This way, you've got the information that people are actually searching for. You can now be a conduit of that information, and that in of itself would be branding, because now people go, well, she knows what she's doing. She knows what's going on. She's knowledgeable. They remember you for that. At the end of the day, that's what people want. Now, you start to couple that with obviously dressing properly and carrying yourself well and being professional and everything else that comes along with it. You're now building a brand that people see as something they want to attach themselves to, even for that moment in time to do that transaction.
Yeah. Even that deal that I mentioned, that $4.5 million deal.
Yep.
They came in through the open house. They lived next door. I told them, I'm like, just come in, take a look around. And then I made a genuine connection. The wife happened to be Greek. I was Greek. We started chatting. Then all of a sudden, and it was a compounding effect. It didn't just happen like I met them one time and then they bought. I stayed in constant communication with them and they bought 2 years later.
So good. See, it's that constant follow-up. And so I want to talk to that. I want to ask you this question around, social media, and, curious whether, I guess you might look at social, we might look at websites, because we're talking so far. And I'm loving what you're saying, because it's experience. It's about dealing with people. It's about making true connections. Get out there one-to-one, open houses, don't oversell people. So now go to the other side of the spectrum here. And I know that over the past number of years, the roller coaster of ideas that comes through, in real estate for marketing, a lot of it has been around the digital channels and being online, really putting yourself out there, doing videos, running ads, generating online leads, all this stuff. Would you say that social media, even your website, are key business drivers for you? And I'm curious to know, on one hand, are they key business drivers? And then the other side would be like, how much time are you spending when it comes to playing online throughout the day? And I'm not talking do your homework on MLS and checking things out. I'm talking like on these digital marketing channels.
So what I would say is this. I don't think a lot of my business is directly linked to social.
Wow, everybody. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? I just want to make sure that's clear.
Oh my gosh. I will take it again. I don't think I am successful because of my social media. I think my social media is used to stay top of mind with my clients, with their friends, with their family. We call that building
MindShare, Elena. I wanted to say that, put that out there.
Sorry?
We call that building MindShare.
Okay, there we go. Brand awareness now, MindShare. But that's where it comes from. It comes from, how do we stay connected with our people? How do they always remember we're still in real estate? It's not like, most likely I'm not going to get some random person that never knew me, that never got introduced to me offline. Like, it's probably not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's an outlier. But I am going to get referrals from people that do know me, but people that have already been following me, from my friends in the past. Like, I've helped a couple of my high school friends that I haven't talked to in years purchase condos or purchase houses this year. Years. And it's because social media presence.
So it is because of that.
But it's because it stays top of mind. Right. I'm not saying that's the driving force.
Okay.
They remember I'm in real estate because it's constantly in front of them that I'm in real estate.
Okay. Now, is that forgive me, is that you posting, or is that you also making a point to engage with them, like to check them out and say, what's up? Nice dog, congratulations, happy birthday, whatever?
I would say it's a blend, like a mix of everything. Okay. But for the most part, it's literally just about staying top of mind. Mm-hmm. So you can't forget that I'm in real estate if you're on your Instagram or Facebook or whatever, because you'll constantly be bombarded with me being like, I'm in real estate. Do not forget I'm in real estate. Because every single agent knows that the worst thing someone can ever tell you is, I just bought a house. I forgot you're in real estate. Like,
you took the words right out of my mouth. That is something we've been saying for years. It's like, oh my God, how did you forget? And I hear from so many people all the time. They're like, I can't believe they went and work with somebody else. I'm like, what'd you do to remind them? Like, well, I mean, we're friends. They should know. I'm like, are you kidding me?
We don't remember because there's so many real estate agents out there, and the person the closest to your client gets your client. The person the closest in the vicinity, when they're like, I'm looking for a home, that's who they're going to go to. And then they're going to remember down the line, oh my God, I forgot you're in real estate. And that's the one thing I never wanted to hear. Someone to tell me that I forgot you're in real estate. So my social media is tailored towards my own people. It's not to generate outside leads of people that I never knew. Like, if that's an effect,
so you're not spending money generating leads and ads and all that. Okay.
No, if it is an effect of what I'm currently doing, fantastic. It's a bonus, but it's really just to stay top of mind with my people. Now, when it comes to creative marketing, because I know you're going to touch on that eventually, I'm like the queen of Uber Eats. Like, I actually have a problem. Uber Eats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is where we're going with this.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how this relates to real estate.
Elena, tell us more about Uber Eats.
So let's say, for example, your client is supposed to meet with you today, and for some reason they're sick. What do you usually do?
It's like, who cares? Get on the phone. Let's go. No.
Well, you'll probably reschedule the appointment and not see them that day because they're sick and they don't want to come out of their house. So I go a step further and I'll send them soup. Like, I will Uber Eats them soup to their house. And then they will post that I Uber Eats them soup to their house and say, has your realtor like sent you soup before? Nice. On their own social media platforms.
Love that.
And then all of a sudden I get an influx of people that were their friends that now follow me. I will randomly send my clients flowers or donuts or anything randomly. It's not planned. I'll randomly send it and I'll just be like, just because your favorite realtor, Elena. That's it. And I also don't put your favorite realtor, Elena. I just put your favorite realtor because they should know I am their favorite realtor.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, if they don't remember when I don't get a message, I don't know what's happening.
So you've got, but I do love that. I love the fact that you added that in. So it's random acts of kindness, right? Where you're being very personable because now it's like it's an in the moment thing and it's relevant to them. There is some social media presence which happens. I caught up on the fact, we do the open house. I caught up on what you said about the follow-up from the open houses. So I imagine that there's some sort of email follow-up system or even email keep in touch system that you use on a regular basis, like sending a newsletter or something like that.
So here's another little like trick to the trade, because I know you're all about giving people ideas right now. You can do one step further than just sending a random email. Send them a bomb video.
Okay. Put yourself on the video, like it. Well, we were talking about your buddy Tom earlier. He does a great job with those too.
Yeah. So put yourself in the and be like, I'm currently in 123 Banana Street. Thank you so much for stopping by this open house. It was fantastic. If you do want to know what the property does sell for, just shoot me a message back and I'll let you know. Or if you know something personal about them, mention it. So it was so nice meeting Lisa and Fred today, like blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, Lisa and Fred, it was so nice meeting you at the open house. Like, I just wanted to let you know that these are the key features that you were asking about. I got the answers for you. Also, this street on whatever XYZ has also popped up. If you want to take a look at it, I'm happy to book an appointment. Who's more likely to click on an email or click on a video?
Well, it lets them see you, it lets them hear you. So it's definitely an added touch. What about phone calls? Like, are there a lot of phone calls happening in a day? Text messenger, like the individual touch base with your client base. What's the key?
So I'm old school. I like talking to someone over the phone.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like I get more information out of people. I can tell them exactly what they need.
Yeah, totally.
On a day-to-day basis, though, then most people that are calling me are other agents. Throughout the day, multiple times a day, are other agents.
Okay.
Clients are usually texting or emailing, or they directly book themselves into my calendar.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So here, talking to the calendar, then when we look at daily systems and processes for you, right? And I know what you said earlier, how you live, sleep, eat, breathe real estate. How how do you structure your day? Like, are you highly scheduled? Do you adapt as you go? Do you have a plan going into your day? What does that look like?
I would say that I'm highly scheduled, but I adapt as we go.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like
Okay.
things
That's
do
fair.
change.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So things do change every day on a daily basis. Like if I have a client that I didn't have scheduled today, but I have someone else, and now that client wants to see a property, they're seeing the property. They're just probably not going to see it with me. They'll see it from a member of my team.
Okay.
So like the client's never going to get the second, like they're never going to have to wait the next day or the day after to see a property if they want to see it today. That's why we structured things the way we did. But if they like it, we'll go back another day and they'll see it with me directly. So like we have flexibility, but it's within reason because there are like I have a schedule and I try to stick with it as much as possible.
Well, listen, I commend you. And again, all jokes aside, we put out an email, the invitation when you come on with the link, like, we're going to get online at this time. And I was actually very surprised you were online like right at that time. And seriously, I commend you for that. Like I take all jokes away on that. I think it's an important one. I think that for everybody, anytime we've got a meeting with people, it is not okay to say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I'm late." Like, and if it happens, because it does, life is life. You can only use that once. Like, you can't just keep doing that because then you just look unprepared. You don't know what's going on, and then again, this comes right back to some of the pillars that you operate with. The professionalism is not there. The expertise is not there. There's a missing element to who you are and what you bring to the table.
I can give you a little cheat if you are going to be late to a client meeting, though.
Go for it.
So we're going back to Uber Eats. If I'm going to be late and I know I'm going to be late, sometimes I will literally Uber coffee to the appointment spot because my client's already there. So it will bring the, I don't want to say anger level down, but it's also a little like, I'm so sorry I'm late. I do value you and your time. Coffee is on the way and so am I. But the coffee will probably arrive before I do. And they'll start laughing about it. Like, you did not just send coffee to a random person's address. And I'm like, yes, I did. Enjoy. I'm on my way.
You love your Uber Eats, eh? You weren't joking about that.
I'm telling you, I'm a VIP customer. I don't know why they don't give me more promotions.
Go figure. You should be like an influencer for Uber. So daily non-negotiables. As we talk about the scheduling, what kind of stuff is in the day that like has to happen no matter what? That again is helping you just kind of get to where you've gotten to and where you want to go.
So at the end of each day, I have my team send me an end of day summary. So I need to know what happened throughout the day. I'll put my notes in there. And then in the morning at 9 a.m., we have an admin meeting.
Okay.
So again, if you're not at that stage where you do have a team and you do have a bunch of admins, that's the point where you should literally be making a checklist of everything that you needed to do and start crossing it off. And anything that hasn't been dealt with, you have to either manage expectations with your clients and let them know that it's getting dealt, and push it off to the next day and get it done.
I love the fact that you do an EOD, like an end of day. We do the exact same thing on our side, and then we will reconvene about it either like probably first thing in the morning, just kind of look it over and talk about it and figure out, okay, what did we do? What didn't we do? Okay, where are we at? Because I love getting a summary. Like I know with my teams, I don't have the opportunity to speak to everybody by the time the day ends, by the time they're done for the day. Like I'm going all day, and I don't want to say that they're not. But as the business owner, team lead, let's call it, I'm going 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. So for me, there's times where it's like random at like late night. And I'm like, all right, what everybody do today? Boom. And I can look at the EOD, right? And just like be able to see like what happened. And then at least I know first thing the next morning where to jump off from, be like, hey guys, what happened here? Or where are we at with that? Talk to me. Right. And
but it also gives you an opportunity to be like, who's overworked? Is there too many tasks? If there's too many tasks, can we delegate it a little differently? Like, how do we smooth out the operation so the client gets the best experience?
Love that. See, and so the client gets the best experience. Okay. Experience is so crucial. Everybody tuned in. Like it is so important that experience is number one. If you're going to be late, I don't like the late thing, but I do like the little hack of like, I'm going to send you something. So at least you're like not as mad at me. Again, it's experience though. It really is. Or like they're not feeling well and you send them the soup. Like it's all about the little experiences. And when you think about some of the companies you spent money with in the past, my wife just got a brand new truck. And when we went there to pick it up, and this is probably, the umpteenth, vehicle I've purchased from this group of owners, they had the whole thing wrapped for her, like in a blanket, like you couldn't even see the thing. It was like this big, reveal. They brought out all these staff and you're thinking like, do you do this for everybody? And they probably maybe do or don't. I don't even know.
But didn't it make you feel so good about your purchase that you literally said, if I ever had someone that was
There it
looking to
is,
buy,
right?
I would 100% refer them to them.
My sales guy was awesome. Like, didn't, he was on the ball the entire way through. And that for me is so huge, but there it comes back to the experience. So even if there's something about the vehicle you don't like or about something that you didn't like, the reality is you like the guy so much, you like the experience that was provided so much, you've got a resource there, you can go back. And again, that's what we all need to strive to try to deliver for our people. Now, as we
Definitely.
talk about experience and people, and you just mentioned about team, and you've actually brought up your team a few times, there's, just so we have the opportunity to acknowledge it, because I don't want to take that away. I think it's great that you built one, but I say great because there's a lot of people that try to build one that don't succeed in building one or don't know how to build one.
I think you need to look at your numbers before you decide you want to have a team.
For sure.
And I can tell you this, and this is something that like I'm public about whatever I'm doing. Like if someone reaches out to me and asks for my systems or my processes or anything I'm doing, I'm an open book, I share. But the way that I view it is this: if you're trying to start a team, why are you trying to start a team? There has to be a reason. Because I can tell you right now, year to date, the most amount of money I ever made was when I was running myself with 2 admins. It was not having the team. And it could be very different in a year or 2 years, and my position might change, but an admin does wonders for your business. So if you're a single operating agent and you're like, I want to hire an agent because I'm overwhelmed and I don't have enough space, hire an admin first.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. And if the admin takes over all your processes, all your systems, all your emails, all your whatever, can you then sell more real estate? Do you have more time to devote to your clients because your admin is taking care of that? And it makes a world of difference when you have an admin.
Absolutely huge. Like even if it's just that one person, how many people do you have in your team?
So right now I have a full-time admin and she handles all of our listings. Okay. I have an operations manager who started 3 weeks ago.
Cool.
I have kind of like a gopher who runs around and handles everything for us. And I have a marketing manager that's part-time. Cool. And in January, we have a full-time stager / admin joining us as well.
Cool. So continuing to build.
Yeah.
And that's obviously based on the levels of successes you're hitting and where your goals are at. Are you a big goal setter, like business planner?
I am.
Really
we haven't done our goal
stuff?
setting for this year yet, but I am a big goal setter. Like you heard it from the beginning too. Like if I don't make a certain amount of money, then why am I in this industry? The second year, my goal was to double that. My third year, my goal was to double that. And I just kept going. So it's a compounding effect. And if you at least grind it out in the first 2 years, you will be thankful you did it later.
Oh, I listen.
Like you'll get a little bit of your life back. I'm not saying fully, but you'll get a little bit.
No, for sure. But it's also, you start to be able to create boundaries because you start to realize what kind of work needs to go in order to produce the ultimate results that you want on the other end. And now you're able to tinker with that schedule a little bit more, delegate some more tasks, bring on team members, have people helping you succeed.
Exactly.
Right. If everybody's winning, you're winning. Now, what about when you're not winning? And I'll talk more specifically, like when the market slows down, right? And we've seen, obviously there's market trends and we've seen shifts, and obviously 23, 24 was very different than say 21, 22, where we're going in 25. We don't know yet, obviously. Like nobody does. We can all speculate, but what do you do when the market slows down, Elena? Like, or the pipeline feels light? What kind of things do you dig into?
Well, I can tell you right now, like the market, the slow and the fast, like I haven't been licensed for that long. I'm in my 6th or 7th year now. So I've seen a couple of bumps in the road of a market like COVID and what has recently been happening. But what I ended up doing, at least this time around when the market got slow, is I doubled down on everything. So I doubled down on my marketing expenses. I doubled down on my client activities. I doubled down on everything client focused. Because when markets are not great, a lot of real estate agents and a lot of any profession, they tend to wind down what they're doing. They don't ramp up. So in my mind, if I ramp up when everyone's
typical to any business.
Exactly. If I ramp up when everyone's ramping down, whenever all the dust settles, I should have absorbed more market share. Fair, so that was my goal with the last little while, where the market was a little bit more uneasy, was double down on everything. So I've probably spent the most amount of money in the last year or so doubling down on everything that I needed to do in order to build something a little bit more stronger, sustainable, and a great referral program for my clients.
Have you had any fear in doing that for yourself where you're starting to, double down on the expenses and go, oh, wow, like I don't know if the money's going to come back in to pay for this?
100%. And
Okay.
also, you should not be doing it unless you have a level of fear, because fear is a driver. As much as like fear is horrible and like people are like, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm going to lose something, I'm going to do something, it pushes you to achieve a lot more. Like I can tell you right now, the year I became the number one agent at my office was probably one of the most stressful years economically that I had. And it's because I decided I'm going to buy a pre-construction. I decided I was going to pay a developer a shit ton of money
Yeah.
every single month
Yep.
until that was paid off. And the amount of money that I promised the developer was around, like it was over $6,000 a month. How do you tell someone that's 22, 23, like pay the
It's a
developer
lot of money
$6,000 a month
for
and
sure.
you have
On
no
top of
fallback?
living. Yep.
But I have no fallback. So how do you do it? You double down. I just worked like crazy. Like there's no cheat. And I wish I could tell someone that they like hopped in today and I gave them the life cheat on how to be successful in real estate.
No,
And
but
I did
you
it so
listen, you're
quickly.
giving that sheet right now by being totally blunt and honest and continuing with the same theme that any successful person would share. There is no secret pill. There is no magic sauce. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right?
And I do tell that too. When I interview for team members, I'm like, what is your goal? What do you value the most out of your priority list? And is it leads? Is it income? Is it your schedule? And like schedule is something that if they're in their first little while of being an agent, it's a reality shock of me being like, you don't have control of your schedule until you've built it up to a point where you do, where you can say like, I'm going to work these days and not these days. When you can say like, actually, I'm overbooked right now. I can't take on more people. When you can lean on other people, like there is a point in time where the pendulum will swing and the beginning of your career is not that time. It's the grinding years. Like you have to hit the pavement. You
Yeah,
have to
wise
run.
words. So what keeps you driven? What keeps the fire stoked? What keeps you motivated out there daily, no matter what's happening? Like
You
what's the
said it
driving
earlier,
force?
the fear of failing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Cool.
like
I like that.
I have a lot of people now that rely on me. Like I have staff, I have admin. I cannot afford to stop working because then they don't have a job. So there is a level of I need to work. I need to make sure this is successful because that's, the other people rely on me. It's not just me.
So if we talk about success and the other people relying on you, what would you say is the sort of the key factors to consistent success? Would it be get up every day and get at it? Would it be make your phone calls, host more open houses, like connect with more people, all of the above? Mindset wise, like what, just maybe a key factor behind consistent success.
Well, I would say this, like most people fail at what they want to do because they don't even get started. So don't constantly think that you need to be operating or you need to deliver 100% of something. And I don't want to say settle for less, but 80% done is better than 100% not done. And that's the thing a lot of people forget. So don't be so focused on it needs to be perfect. It needs to be this. It needs to be that. No, it just needs to happen. So get it to happen. Like don't put blockers in front of you of like, oh, I want to host an event for my clients. And then you don't host the event. Host the event. It doesn't matter if it runs at 80%. Do it. It doesn't matter if there's only 3 people there. Do it. Like consistency is key and operating is key. Just do it. I'm now a Nike commercial.
I mean, honestly, you know what? I did that on my mastermind too, which funny enough, the mastermind was like right next door to your office there on King. There's that, if you walk out the front doors of your office and look to the right, there's a building next to you where there's a little coffee. They got a little thing and like you walk in that brown wooden door. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have zero idea what you're talking about. My office is
Okay.
in Wellington now.
Oh, Wellington. Weren't you guys on King Street, you said?
So I was at Brad. I left Brad about a year and a half ago. I joined
That's why.
Royal LePage Signature.
Right. Okay, never mind.
So that's where my award level switches as well.
Yeah,
So I was their
yeah,
number one
yeah.
agent until I left, and then I joined Royal LePage where I
Yeah,
became.
yeah. I got you.
You know,
Okay.
you know the history. You've got this now.
Yeah. I got you. You know what? That's right. I sort of skipped on that. No, but we did a mastermind around there. But anyways, it's funny because like at some point we started going like just do it. Like
Yeah.
that's where it came from with Nike. Just do it. And that's something that I think so many people put up roadblocks in front of themselves, like, oh, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just get it done. And then once you get it done, you're going to learn something. And once you learn something, you'll be able to do it better the next time. And like you're going to learn. And most people will stop themselves from doing, and therefore they won't achieve the success that they ultimately want. And then they'll sit there just ruminating about like what they didn't do and what else they should do. Well, it's like you should have got started.
100%.
Right. So you've gone through your entire day. You're doing all sorts of great stuff. You're talking to lots of people. You're Ubering all sorts of stuff to everybody. How do you know it's been a successful day for you when you like finally get home and you just sort of like, you're done. Like it's like, let that breath out and you're like, okay, shoes off. Like we're done. How do you know this was a successful day for you?
I think it's a successful day if the most amount of things on my task list have been taken off. That's how I know it's a successful day. And I most likely won't go to bed until I've checked off enough things on my list. So there are times where like I'm up late and I still do this. I know it's not healthy. It's not healthy, but I will stay up and I'll be like, I need to do 10 more emails. I need to do this more things. I need to do this, because all day you run an autopilot. If you have to go to showings, you do showings. So sometimes your email gets neglected. If you have to go do something, like tasks still need to happen. So there's not enough hours in the day, in my opinion. I wish there was more.
There's not for everybody.
Sorry?
It's like that for everybody, and I blame it on the smartphone at all times. We're getting pulled in too many directions.
Yeah, and a true life hack is literally getting up early. And I know people hate when I say that, but no one bothers you between the hours of 6 to 7 or 6 to 8. The least amount of people are messaging you. So like when you're sending emails, at least the email's not automatically coming back. Like you can get through your whole entire email list in the morning and then get to work and then get back to people throughout the day. But at least get through that big chunk before everyone else is up. You have to prep a listing, do it before anyone else gets up. You have to schedule your appointments, schedule them before anyone else is up. Because late at night, people are still up, people are still messaging you. But early in the morning, less people are up. Like when I said I was the first one at my office, the last one to leave, I meant it. I was the first one coming into my office, and I do believe in going into office. So a lot of agents will do this where they're like, I can work from home, I can work from anywhere. If you're early on in your career, the most you can learn is from others. How agents talk on the phone, how agents produce their business. So sitting in the office and just being a sponge did wonders. Hearing agents on the phone, how they negotiate, because you all know we walk around and talk on our phone. No one sits still and does the call. Like I'm sure you walk and you talk on your phone and like pace back and forth.
I got my little earpiece that I use, and this way I can pace and I can do. Yep.
So wouldn't you say that if someone heard you negotiating on the phone, they would have learned so much out of that? See one, do one, teach one. So like be in the office, listen to how other agents negotiate, and then use it, because you will look much more experienced when you use the same verbiage, the same mannerisms, the same, I don't want to say flirtiness, but the same like casualness in conversation where they feel like they knew you forever.
Yeah. But listen, it's being a people. And I think, you've got to want to be out there talking to people. Right. You've got to want to be out there connecting with people, whether that's people in your office that you can learn from, whether that's people that you can speak to that are potential opportunities. It is a people business. And that's where, again, back to what we said, some time ago on the show today around the use of the online channels. They're there as support. They're there as additional marketing. They're not necessarily the business drivers.
Yeah. And don't get so distracted by that online presence that you forget the actual work in real estate. Like social media puts out a great front that everyone's so busy, that everyone's so active, that everyone's so working, but nothing replaces the actual work. Like I do post on social media when I go on tours. I'm like, oh, like doing showings today. Yep. Oh, I'm doing this today. But again, it's to stay top of mind for my clients. So you still need to build up your database. Your focus should literally be your clients, your people. The next is focus on how do you keep those people engaged with you and understanding that you're the person they should call, because you're still in real estate and they need to remember when they think of the real estate, they have to think of you.
We call that MindShare. Elena, I mean, you listen, you've just given seriously some great words of wisdom to close us out today. I was going to ask you for some final words of wisdom that everybody could use to, create more mind share, to get more market share. I think you're sharing that. So maybe we switch that a little bit and say if there was, one big takeaway as we talked about how to become the number one realtor in your office, in your city, in your area, whatever. If there's one big takeaway that everybody should get from the conversation, what do you think it would be today?
I would say to treat it like a normal job. Like you come into the office, you work multiple hours, you don't check out until your work is done. So like treat it like a job, but it's a job that you're running. So it's not a 9 to 5. You don't have a boss. You're the boss. If you want to be successful in this industry, you have to bootstrap it. You have to be the person on the ground actually doing the work. It doesn't just happen.
Powerful words. Elena Saradidis, I thank you very, very much for joining us on the MindShare podcast today. Actually, a fun conversation, an educational conversation. I think there was a ton of value delivered. And I love the way, even as you admittedly said, between your age and between the longevity in the industry, how hard you're working. But although young, working with an old school mentality that really, keeps it what this business is all about. And that's where people got so lost with the online and the digital, is that they forgot that it's a people business. The online leads, I'm going to pay for leads so that, random strangers are going to come to me. No, like no matter what we do, the more and more people we talk to, the more, top producing agents we speak with, including yourself here today, it is a people business. Get back out there, connect with people, be in front of people, learn from people, talk to people, create connections with people, create good experiences with people. And you will be able to do more transactions with more people. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You are either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. While you're there, be sure to learn more about our one-to-one coaching, our group training, and our keynote speaking. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. For all inquiries, just get in touch with us and do it today. Please do not forget to leave a review of this podcast. We'll make it super easy for you. You can go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. That'll take you to iTunes. It'll take you to Spotify. It'll take you wherever you want to go, kind of wherever you want to go. But it'll help you be able to leave us a nice 5-star rating and tell us how much you love the show and love our guests. Of course, we get some amazing, amazing guests on here. If we haven't yet, let's connect on Facebook and TikTok at MindShare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan101. Just before we go, I want to say thank you. Big thank you to both Kits, Keep in Touch Systems, and REM Real Estate Magazine for sponsoring this episode. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.